So within the linguistic school of matter, there is a appropriation of capital that takes place within the limited speech of patriots. So if a patriot is excommunicated from his own Vatican, which was the act of suicide of the cult is replaced with a secret senate to dismantle the unions of the lower class. So if a capital embassy is under attack under these systems, not only does the Vatican start to induce Etruscan law back into the state of fields, the fields allow for the opening up effect of the capriciousness of the saints of their Judaic lord. So if a Judaic lord is to baptize himself in a emergent speech rite, that speech rite is taking place not only in them, but in their capital heroes that embassy them as if they are still a agreement to serve. So since these people are no longer serving other people, they are technically raw minerals for the state. They disallow for the navigation of the Vatican and replace it again with the Baptist community as if it was a impediment on learning arithmetic. So arithmetic is no longer a field for sheriffing farms, but allows for the Etruscans to obey sentient patterns onto a scripted Sanskrit. So, since the Etruscans started out in the Persian Empire and moved into the Greek Empire in their later years, they Hebrewized themselves in suburban thought so that they can become a yoke of their own speech. So, if they are yoked, not only do they produce for themselves, they produce for the community of gatherers in their pool. So, since that pool is no longer a learning effigy for farming, it disallows the state to be the Vatican because it no longer emerges as a martial star for other people. So, these martial stars are badges, but yes, they do not communicate to the police. They communicate to the lawyers of the police. So if the lawyers are heard of about any community, they are disregarded for the Senate, and the secret Senate allows for the heroes to emerge as if they are a triumphant class under a patriotic oath, which would be to inept the capital embassies of their time to serve under a democratic oath, which is to be a human rather than an alien. So these democratic oaths would take place under a truancy act, since they did not believe that they were aliens at all, because they were enveloped in the synonyms of hydroponics. They steal from the state their prizes so that they can grow new hydroponics later on. So the field for these things would be very important to the arithmetic class. Because there's arithmy, the Artiments and the Eridem are separated into two classes of suburban stock that don't just congregate but neglect each other. So if they don't neglect each other, they start to field in German speech, and German empires are born from it. So unless we approve of the ability to marshal planes, there is no dynastic kings because the Etruscans wouldn't allow for a senate to race into the Vatican. So unless these people are truly from a field of their own making, They are not in the empire. They are still technically within the colonies. So colonies of the Etruscans do not speak back to Etruscans. Because there's so much speech that is required of them, they are required to learn about their own obedience instead of the obedience of other people. And this is the servile population that happens within the populist community. They independently recreate their culture to stop the stars of the swastika from becoming lawyered. So if someone is to be a suburbanite within their community, not only do they mandatorily enforce arithmetic, the empire is separated back into the main categories and then turned into officers for the court. So this is how the lower class and the upper class separate as human and right as individual. So if right is individual, not only does the empire shatter, right becomes the ability to speak about it. So if right is existence on a plane that doesn't transpire, not only does the freedom of the human soul lost, the human soul becomes negative and it's charged again for those hate crimes. So if those hate crimes do occur, not only do the Eridems become the Artamanti, the Artamanti neglects everyone within their empire and starts to stalk themselves. So it is an arms race to keep in course with the negative thoughts of the generals of the lawyers.